As we've stated many times, the first issue or the first question that has to be answered and answered decisively, and thus far, I don't know of anyone, including myself, who cannot answer it other than on the basis of opinion, is this. We have Ezekiel 38 and 39, a Gog and Magog scenario. But we also have Gog and Magog at the end of the millennium in the book of Revelation. Is there one battle of Gog and Magog, or are there two? Now, given the fact that we must always interpret the Old Testament in light of the New Testament revelation of Jesus, the primary Gog and Magog must be the one at the end of the 1,000-year reign, because that's the one where the New Testament cites and puts the emphasis. It does seem to me, and to many people, that there could be two, because the battlefield is being cleaned up of battle debris and weaponry and so forth for 7 months. Well, how do you calculate that if we're gone into eternity? On that basis and certain other factors, some people say that there could be two. Concerning the nations themselves, the issue is this. Except for Put, at that time called Put, now called Libya, there are no Arab nations in the constellation of nations coming against Israel. It involves Turkey, seemingly Russia, nations that were formerly part of Soviet Central Asia, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, nations of that nature in Central Asia that are largely tribal and Islamic. That would seem to be the alliance of nations coming against Israel, but conspicuously, there are no Arab nations there, with the partial exception or possible exception of Libya. Bearing in mind that the North African population is not all Arab either. It was originally and indigenously, it was either Nubian or it was Berber. So we have the situation now. Okay, let's presuppose there are two. But why are there no Arab nations there? This would seem to suggest something has happened to those Arab nations, some kind of an eradication. Different people have postulated different theories, again, theories, none of them provable, such as Bill Salas, that there will be some kind of a conflict with Israel prior to the Gog and Magog events. Other people are simply not sure. It is very, very difficult to be precise, definitive at this point. Could the destruction of Damascus and the destruction of Jordan, prophesied in Isaiah, could that be the reason we don't see any Arab nations in the alliance coming against Israel at that particular time? Could that be? There is a third aspect of this problem. There are arguments for and against it being the battle of Gog and Magog, equaling the battle of Armageddon, being the same. There are arguments for and against. There seems to be geographical differences. But also, although there may be a battle at heart of Megiddo, Armageddon, that's not where the main battle is. That is where the point of rallying is. That is where the point of assembly is for the final attack on Jerusalem, which will culminate not in the valley of Armageddon or the plain of Jezreel in Megiddo, but will culminate on the northern orifice of the Kidron Valley. That is the valley of Jehoshaphat, according to Zechariah. So, again, you've got three problems. One, is there one Gog and Magog, or two? Secondly, why are there no Arab nations there? And three, is it or is it not the same as the Battle of Armageddon? This is the threefold dilemma. When you have something like that, when you have a nebulous and highly fluid situation, particularly where the present current of Middle Eastern events and world events are playing themselves out, we have to be very, very careful about being dogmatic about any of these three things. Now, I lean towards the view, but I cannot be dogmatic about it, that there are two battles of Gog and Magog. I may be wrong. I'm not teaching it as a doctrine. Whether or not the Arab nations will be eradicated before the Gog and Magog conflict, that is another issue. I'm not dogmatic. And is it or is it not the same as the Battle of Armageddon or Har-Megiddo? Well, it would seem not to be, but there are those who feel strongly that it is. I am at this point not prepared to be dogmatic. I know all of the views. I know what people say. I know what people have always said. I understand what people are saying now. But I do not have a confidence in the Lord yet by the Holy Spirit to commit myself beyond what I've already stated. We must be very, very careful. This situation is highly fluid. Now, as I've said before, when we look at what's been transpiring in Syria and in Turkey in relation to Russia, it would be easy to see how a Gog and Magog scenario can take shape very quickly. It would be easy to interpret present events in light of those passages. But it would also be very easy to see how it could play out differently. Again, when the time comes, the Holy Spirit is going to show us. The faithful church will know at the proper time. Of that we may be assured. Thank you so much for your question. My name is Jacob Prasch. God bless.